Do you often find yourself staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wide awake and frustrated? It feels like your body has its own alarm clock set for the middle of the night, doesn't it? Maybe you drift off just fine in the evening, hoping for a full night's rest, only to open your eyes when the world outside is still dark and quiet. This pattern of waking up around 3 a.m., night after night, is a painful reality for so many people over 60. You're not alone in this struggle. It can leave you feeling exhausted all day, irritable, and worried about the night ahead. It affects your energy, your mood, even your ability to think clearly. You might wonder why this is happening and if you're somehow doing something wrong. It feels like a secret your body is keeping from you. Right, but there are real, understandable reasons why this specific time often becomes a problem. And thankfully, there are practical things you can do about it. In this video, we're going to uncover the surprising truths behind why your sleep might be cut short and look at simple, actionable steps you can take starting tonight to gently encourage your body to sleep later and wake up feeling more rested. We'll dive into some habits and changes that can make a world of difference. Stick with me all the way to the end, because there's something we'll discuss that might truly surprise you about how much control you actually have over this. So, let's start digging into why this 3 a.m. wake-up call is so common as we get a little older and, more importantly, what we can start doing about it. One of the biggest factors, something we often don't fully appreciate, is how our natural internal body clock, what scientists call the circadian rhythm, changes over time. Think of your circadian rhythm as your body's master timer. It tells you when to feel alert and when to feel sleepy over a 24-hour cycle. It's influenced by light and dark, mealtimes, activity, and even social cues. As we age, this internal clock tends to shift a little bit. It often starts running on a slightly earlier schedule. This means you might naturally start feeling tired earlier in the evening and, consequently, be programmed to wake up earlier in the morning. Sometimes right around that 3 a.m. mark. Even if you went to bed at a reasonable time like 9 or 10 p.m., it's not necessarily that you can't sleep anymore. It's that your body's internal schedule has advanced. This shift, sometimes called advanced sleep phase syndrome, is a completely normal part of aging for many people. It doesn't mean something is terribly wrong. It just means your body is operating on a different timetable than it used to. Understanding this is the first crucial step because it takes away the fear and frustration and allows us to work with our body's natural tendencies rather than fighting them. Now, knowing that your internal clock might be shifting is one thing, but we can actually influence this clock and gently nudge it back toward a slightly later schedule. One of the most powerful tools we have for regulating our circadian rhythm is light exposure, particularly natural light. Our bodies are incredibly sensitive to light. Exposure to bright light in the morning tells our brain that it's daytime, time to be awake and alert. Conversely, the absence of bright light in the evening signals that it's time to wind down and prepare for sleep. For many people who wake up early, like at 3 a.m., it's often because they aren't getting enough bright light exposure at the right time, and they might be getting too much light at the wrong time. Specifically, getting good, strong, natural light first thing in the morning, as early as possible after you want to wake up, helps anchor your body clock and can gradually help shift your wake-up time later. Even 15 to 30 minutes of being outside shortly after you get up can make a significant difference. It doesn't have to be direct sun. Just being outdoors where it's much brighter than indoors is key. Think about making your first cup of tea or coffee on the patio, taking a short walk, or even just sitting by a bright window. Doing this consistently, day after day, sends a clear signal to your brain about when your day is starting. On the flip side, light exposure in the evening, especially the blue light emitted from screens like phones, tablets, computers, and even some LED lights, can confuse your body clock. It tells your brain that it's still daytime when it's actually getting dark outside. This can suppress the production of melatonin, the hormone that helps you feel sleepy. If you're using these devices right up until bedtime, you might be pushing back the natural signal to sleep. But because your body clock is already programmed to wake early, you still wake up around 3 a.m. feeling like you haven't had enough rest. So, a really practical step is to start dimming the lights in your home in the evening. A couple of hours before you plan to go to bed, try using warmer, lower wattage bulbs or lamps instead of bright overhead lights. And crucially, try to put away those electronic screens at least an hour, preferably 2, before you want to fall asleep, if you absolutely must use them. Some devices have night mode settings that reduce blue light, which can help, but avoiding them altogether is best. Reading a physical book, listening to music or a podcast, or chatting with a loved one are much better ways to wind down in the evening. It's about creating a clear distinction between day and night, light and dark, for your body's internal clock. Now, another huge factor that ties directly into our 3 a.m. wake-ups is what we eat and drink, and when we do it. Let's talk about caffeine and alcohol first, as they are classic culprits. We all know caffeine is a stimulant, great for waking you up in the morning, but its effects can linger in your system for many hours. If you're having coffee, tea, or even some sodas in the late afternoon or evening, that caffeine could very well be contributing to you waking up wide awake in the middle of the night, even if you don't feel jittery. It can disrupt the deeper stages of sleep and make it easier to pop awake. The general rule of thumb is to cut off caffeine intake at least 6 to 8 hours before your planned bedtime. For someone going to bed at 10 p.m., that means no caffeine after 2 p.m. at the absolute latest. Experiment with this time frame. Some people are more sensitive than others. Pay attention to how later caffeine affects your night. Alcohol is another tricky one. Many people believe a glass of wine or a nightcap helps them relax and fall asleep. While it might make you feel drowsy initially, alcohol actually disrupts the second half of your sleep cycle as your body processes the alcohol. It can cause you to wake up frequently and prevent you from getting the restorative deep sleep you need. That 3 a.m. wake-up could easily be your body bouncing back as the alcohol wears off. So, if you're struggling with waking up in the early morning, consider cutting back on alcohol, especially in the hours before bed. If you do choose to have a drink, try to have it earlier in the evening, with dinner, and limit the amount. Giving your body several hours to process it before you hit the pillow can make a big difference in staying asleep through the night. It's a bit counterintuitive because it feels relaxing initially, but its effect on the quality and continuity of sleep is often negative, particularly as we age and our sleep patterns are already changing. Making these conscious choices about when you consume caffeine and alcohol can be powerful tools in getting past that early morning wake-up. It's all about sending the right signals to your body at the right time. Beyond stimulants, what and when you eat can also play a significant role in those early morning wake-ups. Eating a large or heavy meal too close to bedtime can cause digestive discomfort, heartburn, or just keep your body busy processing food when it should be winding down. This activity can easily disrupt sleep and lead to waking up. Try to finish eating your dinner at least 2 to 3 hours before you plan to go to bed. If you get hungry later, a small, light snack that contains both a complex carbohydrate and a little protein, like a few whole grain crackers with a tiny bit of cheese or a small banana with a spoonful of peanut butter, might be okay, but avoid anything heavy, spicy, or overly sugary. On the other hand, going to bed hungry can also disrupt sleep, as your body might wake you up signaling a need for fuel. It's about finding a balance and timing your meals appropriately. Fluid intake is another area to consider. While staying hydrated is important, drinking large amounts of fluids, especially water or tea, in the couple of hours before bedtime is a sure way to increase the likelihood of waking up to use the bathroom around. You guessed it. 3 a.m. Once you're awake and out of bed, it can be much harder to fall back asleep, especially if your circadian rhythm is already leaning towards an earlier wake time. Try to front-load your fluid intake earlier in the day and taper off in the evening. Of course, if you have a medical condition or medication that requires specific fluid intake, always follow your doctor's advice. But, for many, consciously reducing evening fluids can reduce those disruptive trips to the bathroom that trigger early morning wakefulness. It's a simple adjustment, but one that can significantly improve sleep continuity. These dietary and hydration changes, combined with smart light exposure, Start to build a foundation for a better night's sleep that goes beyond just trying to force yourself back to sleep when you wake up. It's about setting the stage properly throughout the day and evening. Now, let's talk about movement and exercise, and how the timing of it can affect your sleep. Regular physical activity is fantastic for sleep quality. It helps you fall asleep faster and sleep more deeply. However, the timing matters. Exercising intensely too close to bedtime can be counterproductive. Vigorous activity raises your heart rate, body temperature, and adrenaline levels, which is the opposite of what you want when you're trying to wind down for sleep. For most people, finishing any strenuous exercise at least 3 to 4 hours before bedtime is recommended. This gives your body time to cool down and for those stimulating effects to subside. Gentle activities like a leisurely walk earlier in the evening might be fine for some. But listen to your body. If you find evening exercise, even mild, seems to make you feel too alert later, try shifting it to the morning or afternoon. Finding the right balance and timing with exercise can help ensure it promotes restful sleep rather than hindering it. It's about using movement to support your body's natural sleep-wake cycle, making you healthily tired at the end of the day. Another major contributor to those early morning wake-ups is stress and worry. As we get older, life often presents us with different kinds of stresses: health concerns, financial worries, changes in family dynamics, grief. These stresses don't just magically disappear at bedtime. In fact, the quiet of the night can sometimes amplify them. Lying awake at 3 a.m., with your mind racing through your anxieties, is a common experience. This mental chatter can prevent you from falling back asleep. Developing strategies to manage stress during the day and process worries before bed is vital. This doesn't mean you have to eliminate all stress. That's impossible, but it means finding ways to quiet the mind. Simple techniques like keeping a worry journal can be incredibly effective. About an hour or two before bed, spend 10-15 minutes writing down everything that's on your mind. Get it out of your head and onto paper. Once it's written down, tell yourself you've dealt with those thoughts for today and you'll revisit them tomorrow if needed. This can help prevent them from swirling around when you're trying to sleep. Other relaxation techniques can also be very helpful as part of your bedtime routine. Things like gentle stretching, taking a warm bath. The drop in body temperature afterwards can be sleep-inducing. Listening to calming music, or practicing deep breathing exercises or meditation can help transition your mind and body from the day's activities to a state ready for sleep. Consistency is key with these practices. It's not about eliminating all thoughts, but about gently bringing your focus back to the present moment and calming the nervous system. Finding what works for you. Maybe it's a specific guided meditation, listening to an audiobook, or simply focusing on your breath and incorporating it into your nightly wind-down routine can build a powerful signal to your body that it's time to rest, making you less likely to be jolted awake by anxious thoughts in the early hours. It's a skill that takes practice, but the rewards for your sleep are immense. Remember, your mind needs winding down just as much as your body does. Let's also consider your bedroom environment. Is it truly a sanctuary for sleep? 3 key factors here are temperature, light, and noise. Our bodies sleep best in a cool environment. Most sleep experts recommend a bedroom temperature between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, about 15-19 degrees Celsius. A room that is too warm can make it harder to fall asleep and easier to wake up during the night. Experiment to find what feels comfortably cool for you. Regarding light, we've already talked about avoiding bright light in the evening, but your bedroom should be as dark as possible when you're trying to sleep. Even small amounts of light from streetlights, alarm clocks, or indicator lights on electronics can disrupt sleep, particularly the production of melatonin. Consider using blackout curtains or blinds to block out external light. If you need a nightlight, choose a very dim, warm-toned one and place it low to the ground. Noise is the third element. Unexpected noises, like traffic, a heating system clicking on, or a partner snoring, can easily pull you out of lighter stages of sleep or prevent you from falling back asleep if you wake up naturally. Using earplugs can be very effective for some people. Others find that using a white noise machine, a fan, or an app that provides consistent, soothing background sound like gentle rain or ocean waves can help mask sudden noises and create a consistent auditory environment that promotes sleep continuity. It's about making your sleep space as conducive to uninterrupted rest as possible. Think about your bedroom. Is it cluttered? Is it used for activities other than sleep and intimacy? Try to keep it solely for sleep to strengthen the association between the room and rest. Small adjustments to your sleep environment can have a surprisingly large impact on how long you stay asleep once you drift off. Now, despite all these efforts, there might still be nights when you find yourself wide awake at 3 a.m. The worst thing you can do in this situation is to lie in bed, getting increasingly frustrated and clock watching. This only creates anxiety around sleep and makes it harder to fall back asleep. This is the crucial point. Perhaps the surprising thing I mentioned earlier. What you do when you wake up can dramatically influence how quickly you fall back asleep and how you feel about your sleep. Overall, if you've been awake for about 20, 30 minutes and can't drift back off, the best strategy is often to get out of bed. Yes, get out of bed. Go to another room, a quiet, dimly lit space. Do something calm and relaxing, like reading a book again. No screens, listening to quiet music, or doing some gentle stretching or deep breathing. The key is to avoid anything stimulating or brightly lit. Stay in this other room until you start to feel genuinely sleepy again. When your eyelids feel heavy and you're yawning, then, and only then, go back to the bedroom to sleep. This technique, known as stimulus control, works by breaking the negative association between your bed and being awake and frustrated. If you stay in bed awake, your brain starts to associate the bed with wakefulness and anxiety instead of sleep. By only being in bed when you are actually trying to sleep and feel sleepy, you strengthen the connection between your bed and successful sleep. It takes patience, and it might feel counterintuitive at first, but it's a powerful way to retrain your brain. Avoid looking at the clock when you wake up. Knowing the exact time often just increases anxiety. Just estimate if you've been awake for 20 to 30 minutes. Remember, even if you only get a few more hours of sleep after waking at 3 a.m., getting out of bed when you can't sleep can actually make you feel more rested the next day than lying there, tossing and turning with worry. It's about taking back control of your sleep space and your reaction to waking up. Sometimes, waking up at 3 a.m. or having disrupted sleep can be related to underlying health issues or medications. Conditions like restless leg syndrome, sleep apnea, chronic pain, or even side effects from certain prescriptions commonly used by people over 60 can interfere with sleep continuity. While we've discussed many habits you can control, it's also really important to have an open conversation with your doctor about your sleep difficulties. Be specific about when you wake up and what's happening. They can help identify if a medical condition or medication might be contributing and suggest appropriate treatments or adjustments. Never stop or change medication without consulting your doctor. Sometimes, a simple change in timing or dosage can make a big difference to sleep. Bringing up sleep is just as important as discussing any other health symptom. So, we've covered quite a bit about why those 3 a.m. wake-ups happen and practical ways to address them. We talked about the natural shifts in our internal body clock and how crucial managing light exposure is, getting bright natural light in the morning and dimming lights, and avoiding screens in the evening. We explored how caffeine and alcohol, especially when consumed later in the day, can disrupt sleep, and the importance of timing your meals and fluids. We looked at how adjusting the timing of your exercise can help, and the power of relaxation techniques and stress management to quiet a busy mind. And we discussed creating a calm, dark, and cool sleep environment. Finally, we touched on the importance of getting out of bed if you can't sleep after about 20-30 minutes to break that negative association, and the need to talk to your doctor about potential medical causes. Remember, you don't have to implement all of these suggestions at once. Choose one or two that resonate most with you or seem easiest to start with, and try them consistently for a couple of weeks. Small, consistent changes often lead to the biggest improvements over time. Don't get discouraged if you still have an occasional early morning wake-up. Progress isn't always linear. Be patient and kind to yourself. Getting better sleep is a journey, not a race. These strategies are about working with your body's natural rhythms and needs, not against them. Making these adjustments can not only help you sleep later, but also improve the overall quality of your rest, leaving you feeling more energized, focused, and happier throughout the day. Imagine waking up feeling truly refreshed, ready to enjoy your day without that cloud of exhaustion hanging over you. That feeling is absolutely within reach. We'd love to hear from you. What are your biggest struggles with sleep? Or have you found a trick that helps you sleep past that early morning hour? Sharing your experiences in the comments below can help others in this community who are going through the same thing. Your insights are valuable. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It helps us know we're creating content that matters to you and helps more people find this information. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos filled with practical tips and positive encouragement for living your best life at every age. Thank you for watching. And remember, better sleep is possible. Keep making those small, positive changes, and you'll be amazed at the difference they can make. Live your best life at every age.